You're not supposed to feel this way all the time. But somehow, you do. It's quiet. It doesn't scream. It doesn't break things around you. It just sits there, inside your chest, like a weight you can't explain. And it shows up in moments that should feel normal. You're in a room full of people, and for no clear reason, you feel smaller. You open your phone, and within seconds, your mood changes. You're about to say something simple, something normal. And then suddenly your mind whispers, "No, don't. They'll think it's stupid." So you stop. And maybe you don't even notice it anymore. Maybe this has become so normal that you don't question it. You just live with it. That feeling, that quiet voice, that constant comparison, it's not loud, but it controls you. And the scariest part is, you've started to believe it. Because if you're being honest, really honest with yourself, there are moments when you look at someone else and think, they're just better than me. Not in a dramatic way, not in a jealous way, just in a quiet, accepting way, like it's a fact, like it's something you don't even argue with anymore. And that's where it hurts the most, because you didn't just feel inferior, you accepted it. And I know this feeling because it doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from small ones, very small ones, moments that seem harmless at the time, but stay with you longer than they should. Like when you were about to speak, and someone else spoke first, more confidently, more clearly, and people listened. And in that moment, something inside you said, "See? That's how it's supposed to sound, not like you." So you stayed quiet. Or that moment when you typed a message, read it again, changed it, deleted it, typed it again, and then just didn't send it. Because something inside you said, "What if it sounds weird? What if they judge you? What if you're just not good at this?" And then there are those moments that hit even deeper, when you see someone your age doing something you wish you had the courage to do. They're speaking confidently. They're putting themselves out there. They're growing. And you're just watching, scrolling, thinking, comparing. And the thought comes again. I'm behind. It doesn't shout. It just sits there quietly. Wants to be behind. And you don't fight it. You just feel it. And over time, these moments don't feel like moments anymore. They start feeling like proof. Proof that you're not enough. Proof that others are ahead. Proof that maybe this is just who you are. Someone who hesitates. Someone who overthinks. Someone who watches instead of acts. But here's what you don't see. This didn't start because you were actually less than anyone. It started because your mind slowly built a story made of tiny moments, tiny comparisons, tiny doubts. And you never questioned that story. You just kept living inside it. Maybe it started when you were younger. You compared your marks. Someone did better, and everyone noticed. Maybe no one said anything harsh, but you felt it. That silent shift, that quiet realization. They're better. Then it happened again, and again. Different situation, same feeling. And slowly, your mind started connecting these moments, like dots. And before you knew it, it created a pattern, a belief. Others are better than me. And the thing about beliefs is, you don't argue with them, you live by them. So you started acting differently. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just subtly. You started holding back. You stopped trying in certain situations. You avoided things that made you feel exposed. You stayed where it felt safe. Not because you wanted to stay small, but because you didn't want to feel that pain again. That feeling of being less. And every time you avoided something, every time you stayed quiet, every time you chose comfort over action, Your mind took it as confirmation. See? You're not like them. See? You can't do it. See? Stay where you are. And now, it feels real. It feels like truth. But it's not. It's just a story you've repeated so many times that it started feeling like your identity. And this is where it gets even deeper. Because the real problem is not what happened outside. It's what's happening inside your head, right now. There's a voice in you. You hear it every single day. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's quiet, but it's always there. And it sounds like you. But it's not really you. It says things like, "Don't try, you'll mess it up. Wait, you're not ready. They're better than you. Maybe later." And the worst part? It sounds reasonable. It doesn't sound like fear. It sounds like logic. So you listen to it. You obey it, without even realizing it. Before you do anything, you think. And then you think again. And then again. And suddenly, you're stuck in your head, playing scenarios, imagining outcomes, seeing yourself fail, before you even begin. What if I say something wrong? What if they judge me? What if I embarrass myself? What if I'm just not good enough? And by the time you're done thinking, you've already decided not to act. Not because you can't, but because your mind convinced you not to. And then you watch others. They act, they speak, they try, and it confuses you. How are they so confident? How do they not overthink? What do they have that I don't? But here's the truth you've been missing. They're not acting because they feel confident. They feel confident because they act. Read that again in your mind. They're not waiting to feel ready. They're moving while feeling unsure. And you've been doing the opposite. You've been waiting to feel enough, waiting to feel equal, waiting to feel ready. But that feeling, it never comes before action. It only comes after. And that's why you feel stuck, because you've been trying to fix the feeling instead of changing the action. So, what if, just for a moment, you stop trying to feel confident? What if you stop trying to feel equal? What if you stop trying to feel enough? And instead, you allow yourself to be a beginner, not less, not inferior, just someone who is learning. Because think about it honestly, when you compare yourself to someone else, you're comparing your starting point to their progress, your first step to their 100th. And of course, you feel behind. Anyone would. But what if you change the way you see it? What if, instead of saying, "They're better than me," you say, "They've just practiced more than me." Feel the difference. One makes you small. The other gives you space to grow. And now, something shifts. Not everything. Just something small, but powerful. You stop focusing on being better than them, and you start focusing on not staying the same. So the next time you're about to speak, your heart beats fast, your hands feel a little shaky, and that voice says, "Stay quiet." You don't try to silence it. You don't fight it. You just don't obey it. You speak, even if your voice isn't perfect, even if your words are simple, even if it feels uncomfortable. Because this time, your goal is not to impress anyone. Your goal is just to not disappear. And yes, it will feel awkward. Your mind will say, "That didn't sound good. That was weird. You should have stayed quiet." But something important just happened. For the first time, you didn't listen. And that matters more than perfection, more than confidence, more than approval. You send that message, even though you overthink it. You try that thing, even though you feel behind. You show up, even when you feel like hiding. And slowly, very slowly, something starts to change. You begin to notice that people are not watching you as closely as you thought. They're not analyzing every word. They're not keeping score of your mistakes. They're too busy dealing with their own thoughts, their own insecurities, their own fears. And suddenly, that pressure you felt starts to loosen. You start collecting small moments, small wins, not big achievements, just small proofs. Proof that you can act, even when you feel inferior. And those small proofs, they build something quietly, something real. Self-trust. Because confidence is not loud. It's not perfect. It's not fearless. It's built in these small moments where you choose action over fear. Again and again and again. And one day, without even realizing it, you walk into a room and you don't immediately compare yourself. You just exist. You look at others, and instead of shrinking, you observe, you learn, you stay. And for the first time, you don't feel below. You just feel present. And here's the truth that changes everything. You were never inferior. Not once. You were just measuring yourself in a way that made you lose every time. You were comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight moments. You were judging your growth based on someone else's timeline. And once you see that, really see that, something inside you softens. You stop rushing. You stop forcing yourself to be someone else. You stop chasing approval. And instead, you start building yourself. Quietly. Patiently. Honestly. You still have doubts. Of course you do. You still hear that voice sometimes. But now, you don't believe it so easily. You hear it, and you move anyway. And over time, something strange happens. The people you once felt inferior to, they don't feel so far away anymore. Not because they changed, but because you stopped placing them above you, and you stopped placing yourself below. You just stood where you are and accepted it. And that is where real confidence begins. Not in being the best, not in being perfect, but in not needing to be. So the next time that feeling comes back, and it will, that quiet voice that says, "You're not enough," don't fight it. Don't panic. Don't try to erase it. Just don't obey it. Take one small step. Speak one sentence. Send one message. Try one thing. Not because you feel ready, but because you're done waiting to feel ready. Because the truth is, no one feels ready. They just move anyway. And maybe, just maybe, the person you've been comparing yourself to is also standing somewhere, feeling the same doubt, fighting the same voice, hoping no one notices. In the end, everything changes when you stop asking, "Am I better than them?" And you start asking, "Am I showing up for myself?" Because that is the only question that will ever move your life forward. And once you live by that, that heavy feeling, that quiet inferiority starts to fade, slowly, gently, until one day. So in the end, everything becomes quieter, not perfect, not magical, just lighter. You stop fighting yourself so much. You stop measuring your worth every single day. You stop looking at others and feeling like you're losing something. And one day, you catch yourself in a moment. Nothing big is happening. No achievement. No applause. You're just there, being yourself. And for the first time, it feels enough. You look back at the version of you who kept comparing, who kept shrinking, who kept thinking, "I'm not like them," and you realize something that changes everything. You were never less, not once. You were just becoming. And maybe that's all you ever needed to understand, that you're not behind, you're not inferior, you're not missing something. You're just in the middle of your own journey, learning slowly, quietly, in your own way. So before you leave, just sit with this for a second. Did something in this video feel real to you? Did it hit a place you don't usually talk about? If it did, don't let this just be another video you watched and forgot. Let it stay with you. Because sometimes, one honest realization is enough to start changing how you see yourself. So, if this meant something to you, hit the like button, not just for the video but as a small step, a quiet decision that you're ready to stop holding yourself back. And if you know someone who might be feeling this silently, send this to them. You never really know who needs to hear this today. And if you want more of this, real conversations, no pretending, no pressure, just growth at your own pace, then subscribe to the channel, because you don't need to become someone else to feel enough. You just need to stop leaving yourself behind. Take your time. You're not late. You're just becoming. I'll see you in the next one.